Sanvanani tumilang apsheni. Hello. That's how we want to greet you, saying welcome to our show. Guys, if any of you remember Takalani Sesame, or if you're still watching Takalani Sesame, then your life is absolutely amazing. I remember watching that show while I was getting dressed and getting ready to go to primary school, which happened to be Ripon Primary School. Those were the days. But anywho, my name is Zanny CB, but you are more than welcome to call me King Zanny B. The lovely Mrs. Bartleson, who happened to be my grade 6 teacher, gave me that name. And it was so effective that it still stands today. Okay, so thank you, Mrs. Bartleson. I love you. Anyway, guys, I just want to take you through my young journey of how I went from a primary school little girl to this young woman that I have now become. Okay, I am now 23 years old and I'm a University of Pretoria graduate with 2 degrees under her belt, and I'm currently working on my 3rd degree, which I should be getting at the end of this year. Okay, so in undergrad, I did a whole lot of modules in order for me to get to where I am. That's why I just want to emphasize how much hard work is so important, and it'll get you wherever you want to go. But firstly, I attended Ripon Primary School, as I previously mentioned, and I just want to thank all my teachers. Every single one of you had such a huge impact on the woman that I've become today. My grade 1 teacher, Mrs. Davids. Hi, thank you so much for laying such a beautiful foundation and teaching me all the basics that I've carried through my entire life. Thank you so much. My grade 2 teacher, Mrs. Naidu, she was such a sweet and gentle lady. She taught me how to carry myself and just be a lady who carried herself with respect. Mrs. Langton, who became Mrs. Moses after a while, was my grade 3 teacher. She showed me and she taught me how important God was and a relationship with God was, and I thank you so much for that. And then in grade 4, I had the lovely Mrs. Koza, who taught me so many things: how to carry myself, how to respect myself, how to not allow any distractions to steer me in the wrong direction, but to always stay focused and just to always try to achieve my goals by all means. Okay, and then in grade 5, I first had Mr. Shake was my teacher, and he was amazing because he always opened our eyes with regard to everything that was going on around us. He taught us to watch the news, to make sure that we were informed about anything and everything that was going on, reading newspapers, etc. And then I had Mrs. Mahabir, who was so cute and so funny. She just had a beautiful sense of humor, and I remember that about her, and I loved it. And then I had in grade 6, of course, Mrs. Bartleson, who instilled so many morals and values, and she also groomed me into becoming a prefect and a deputy head girl, which I became. Okay, and she was just so feisty and strong, and I took all those characteristics from her, and I just learned so many things from her as well. And then ultimately in grade 7, I had Mr. Jason as my teacher. He was amazing, honestly, a father figure. I would never ever forget him until this day. Any of my teachers at that. Everybody had played such a huge role at molding me into the person that I am today. And I just want to thank each and every one of you. I have so many things to say about each and every one of you, but time constraints, okay? But thank you so much. I appreciate you. And then I became the deputy head girl. And that was lovely because it taught me so much about leadership skills and just interpersonal skills, being able to communicate with anyone and everyone, how to respect other people, and to just be an awesome person. I hope you've gathered that about me. So I hosted a whole lot of events that were happening, poetry clubs or poetry evenings that were happening, anything and everything that was happening. I usually was the host or the MC of that particular program. I sang, I danced. I remember opening up assembly with prayers and singing, and it was just amazing, and I could never ever thank you enough. And then I moved on to high school, which was Rich Park College, and I had such major role players as well, molding me into the woman I am today as well, and that I could never ever express my gratitude enough. Okay, so there I took life sciences, physical sciences, dramatic arts, as well as all my languages, okay? And I just carried through and I did super well, and I came out in the top 12 in matric, okay? I also got the award for most outstanding learner in dramatic arts for both theory and practical, which is absolutely amazing. And then there's this one incident that happened in my life that I sort of skipped through because I just wanted to take you through my educational background. But when I was 8 years old, my aunt got involved in a car accident, and that forever changed our lives as a family, I think. And justice wasn't served. So as time went on, I realized that that wasn't really fair, and I wanted to make a change, and I wanted to make sure that people who committed crimes were actually, prosecuted for their crimes, okay? So when I entered high school, I think this was in grade 8, yes, I was 12, 13, I finally realized that my calling was forensic anthropology / archaeology, something along those lines, because there was always this program that would play on ETV every single time when I came back from school. I felt like it was a sign, it was fate, and it was called Medical Detectives, and I would watch it every single weekday until I got addicted, and everybody in the house knew that that was my show, and that even make sure that I am watching even when I'm not planning to, you know what I mean? And then ultimately I decided that this was my calling actually, and I want to be a medical detective / anthropologist or forensic investigator, but anything along those lines. Therefore, when I got to university, I tried by all means to incorporate all my modules and make sure that they actually lead me into that direction. So in undergrad, or before I graduated, I took a whole lot of modules that would help me reach the stage that I'm at right now. So I did psychology, anthropology, archaeology. I did heritage and cultural tourism, because it's very, very important for you to know where you are and where you're likely to travel to investigate a whole lot of different scenes, crime scenes or archaeological sites, etc., etc. I did business management. I did forensic anatomy, because I had to know the human body and how it functions and what happens when something goes wrong and why, you know what I mean? I took so many modules compared to everybody else around me, but because I worked extremely hard and I was goal driven and I had a direction in life, I knew exactly what I wanted to achieve, I pushed through and I passed in record time, okay? And I just managed to graduate, okay? I mean, ultimately, I chose to do an honors in archaeology. This is basically the study of human history using material culture. So what we basically do is we dig up different sites in different locations. That's why heritage and cultural tourism was so important. And whatever material culture or artifacts that we find, for example, pottery, beads, metal, you name it, we try and understand where it's coming from, for example, from which cultural group it's coming from, the Bavendas or Amazulu, etc., etc., based on, for example, patterns, the shapes and patterns that are on that pottery, for example, or if the beads are red or blue or purple, highly likely to belong to the Tsonga clan. If they're black and purple, highly likely to belong to this clan. That's basically what we're trying to figure out in archaeology, okay? And I know a lot of people tend to associate it with digging up rocks and dinosaurs, but in actual fact it's a lot more than that. It goes a long way. It's a lot more than meets the eye, rather, okay? And I'm actually wearing a cap to represent all my archaeologists, and I tried to zoosh up, my face in order to show you that it's not that serious. I know a lot of archaeologists tend to look really serious and sciencey, but we can actually be a whole lot of fun, okay? And then I did my honors in archaeology, as I previously mentioned. After having graduated from my honors in archaeology, I applied for another honors in forensic anthropology, because that's the more legal side to it. Because remember, I want to bring justice, okay, into this world of ours, okay? So I got in, and now I'm doing an honors degree in forensic anthropology. This is basically analyzing dead people or skeletal remains in a forensic or a legal setting, in order to know, for example, who is this person, because a lot of people actually meet their demise or die and remain unclaimed and unidentified. And this is where we come in. We identify those people, we identify what age they are, what gender or sex they belong to, and How tall were they? When did they die? At what time did they die? Who killed them? What type of weapon killed them? And what was the motive or the reason behind this killing? You know, stuff like that. So I actually wanted to incorporate some of my forensic anthropology ness into the satire. So this represents my archaeological background, and this is what I'm currently doing. We actually wear scrubs while we work, we wear gloves, we wear surgical masks, we use scalpels, we use surgical scissors, anything and everything you can think of. So we're kind of like a mixture of surgeons slash doctors slash, you know, your cool dinosaur digging type people. So all that put together will actually help me get to where I want to get, and that's to investigate a whole lot of archaeological scenes as well as crime scenes.